Hey guys, Casey here with Vacays by Casey. Join us on Mondays for talking about all things travel. Tips, advice, things you need to pack with, travel must-haves, everything travel on Mondays. Today we're going to be talking about booking a Carnival cruise. If you're a first-time cruiser or it's your first time booking with Carnival, first thing I highly recommend is booking with a travel agent or calling the cruise line directly. There are multiple things that goes into booking a cruise, so you really want your first time, and any time for that matter, to be perfect. So these are in no specific order, but first and foremost, use a travel agent such as myself or anyone else, or call the cruise line directly. Another thing that's important is, what ship do you want to go on? Do you want to go on a large ship? Do you want to go on a small ship? Are you traveling with children? What fits your budget? Sometimes the newer, larger ships are a little bit more expensive. They're a little bit harder to navigate if you've never cruised before. Smaller ones are usually more personable, not as crowded in some areas. The larger ships have, such as the XL class, has the Bolt roller coaster. If you're traveling with children, there's the ropes course. Some of them have the IMAX theaters. All of those things need to be thought about. Then, what itinerary do you want to go to? Are you wanting an Alaskan cruise? Are you wanting a Western Caribbean and Mexico? Are you wanting Southern Caribbean, the Bahamas? Are you wanting to go Mediterranean, transatlantic? There's so many things that goes into it. After you figure out, okay, this is where I want to go, this is a ship I want to go on, then you need to look at your departure port. Are you close enough that you can drive up? Like, if you're within a couple of hours, you could probably drive up the day of. If you're several hours away, I highly recommend driving up the night before and booking a hotel. Staying in the hotel so you're not rushed. There's no chaos with it. You're protected. If you're having to fly to a port, definitely fly up the day before. So many things can go wrong with airline delays, flight delays, weather, so many things. Your luggage could get misplaced, then you got to figure out where your luggage is. And we will touch all that in another video. Now that you've figured all that out, you know your ship, you know your itinerary that you're wanting to go on, you know what ports you're wanting to visit, you know what port you're going to depart out of. Now let's talk about the cabins. Do you want to be in the forward part of the ship, midship, or the aft? Do you want to be on a high deck, or do you want to be on a lower deck? Do you want an inside cabin, ocean view cabin, balcony, a cove balcony, a suite? Do you want to be on the Spa 9 deck? I mean, there's so many things that goes into the cabin. And of course, what fits your budget. But I'm going to be honest. Don't go into it saying, okay, well, I'm going to book an inside and hope I get that balcony upgrade. It's likely not going to happen. So if a balcony is what you're wanting, book the balcony. Just go ahead and book it. You can book a balcony guaranteed, and you should be fine. But don't book an inside thinking, oh, I'm going to get upgraded to a suite. Likely not going to happen. If you're sensitive to noise and you really want peace and quiet, try to avoid being near the elevators and stairs, the nightclubs, the theaters, the pool deck, the kids club. Like, there's multiple places you want to avoid having your stateroom if you're wanting to avoid all the noise and chaos. If walking, there's some issues with walking, mobility issues, you are going to want to be closer to the stairs or to the elevators. Now, you've got all that figured out. You know where you want to go, what ship you want to go on, your departure port, where you want to be on the ship. Now we need to look at your sell dates. When can you go? Do you have the PTO to go? When is it the best rate for you to go? Now, January and February is off season. Unless you're going on Super Bowl week, then it's obviously going to be more expensive. In early September and December, those are all pretty much off season, early December that is. Holidays, summer, spring break, those are going to be peak season, and those rates are going to be significantly higher. Also, something to consider is, do you want a 3 to 5 day cruise, which is shorter? Some people refer to them as the booze cruise because they're usually a weekend cruise. Others, for their first time, usually do sell on those to see if this is something they like. Or do you know, okay, I've cruised before, I'm fine with cruising, I want to do a 6-night plus. I want to do a longer one. It gives you more time to enjoy the ship. Now, dining. Carnival offers 2 different options for dining. You can do anytime dining, which you pick. You check in on the app when you want to go. Sometimes you can check in and your table's ready right away. There has been occasions where we have checked in, it was a 45-minute wait, and then it went to an hour wait. So we ended up going to another restaurant. That can happen. Or you can choose to do set dining, which is early dining or late. You'll have the same table, the same wait staff, the same time throughout your sailing. It just because you have that doesn't mean you have to go to it. It just means if you are going to dinner, say on Tuesday, your table will be ready at this time and you go. And it's consistent throughout the cruise. Something else is the dining packages. They have specialty restaurants. If you're selling on, I know for sure, the Jubilee, Cucina's in Chibang, the first time you eat at either one on your cruise is complimentary. After that, it's $8 per person. And I can definitely say Cucina is definitely worth the $8. There's also steakhouse dining, there's the sushi restaurants, there's multiple specialty dining. And usually if you book those ahead of time, there's usually some kind of perk with it. Now let's talk about the drink packages. They have Cheers. They have Cheers Zero Proof, which is new. That is, let's go back. Cheers is your alcohol. You buy the Cheers package, it's X amount of dollars per person over 21 in the cabin. Everyone over 21 in the cabin has to purchase it if one does. Whether you drink or not, whether you're pregnant or not, whether one of you is 25 and one of you is 80, it doesn't matter. You both have to buy it. That is unlimited alcohol, unlimited mocktails, unlimited special coffees, sodas, everything is included. Now, the new program they launched is the Cheers Zero Proof, which means it is mocktails, specialty coffees, smoothies, sodas, everything non-alcoholic. Then they have the basic bubbles package, which is sodas. Again, one person buys it, everybody has to buy it. That's just the way it is. Wi-Fi. Let's talk about some Wi-Fi. They have a social Wi-Fi. They have a value Wi-Fi. They have a premium. And then they have the premium multi-device. We will get more into these once you book, but just keep in mind for budget's sake, if you are planning a cruise, these are all things that you may want. So definitely think about that. Keep that in mind. Those are not included in your rates. You will, however, be able to connect to the ship's Wi-Fi and use the app once you're on board. That does not cost. And they do have a chat plan. It's $5 per person throughout for the whole sailing that you can communicate with people in your cabin or your groups that you're traveling with. Excursions. Now that you've got all the logistics laid out. You know what port you're going to. You know what dates you're going. You know what ship you're sailing on. You got it all figured out. Now think about excursions. If you have never cruised before or you are going to a port that you're not familiar with, I highly recommend booking through the cruise ship. Yes, they are a little bit more expensive, but if you're new to this and you might lose track of time, things happen. If you book with the cruise and you're on a cruise specific excursion, if the excursion runs late, the ship waits for you. If you go online and book resort for a day or through Viator or from one of the Facebook groups, anything like that, and oh no, you look and realize, whoops, I'm running late, they don't wait for you. Everybody will be waving at you as it sails off. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. So definitely recommend probably going through the cruise ship your first time. Travel protection. Now we've talked about excursions, and if you get left, let's talk about travel protection and travel insurance. I highly recommend it. You never know what can happen. You could be walking on the cruise ship, they just washed the stairs, maybe had a little bit too much to drink at the alchemy bar, you slip, you break your leg. There are medical staff on the ships, but there's only so much they can do. So now you have a broken leg and you need to be medevaced off the cruise ship to go somewhere to have surgery. 99% of insurances do not cover international travel. So now guess what? Your cruise is ruined. You have this huge bill that you've got to figure out how to pay for. Then you've got to figure out how you're going to get back home, pending where you're at, what hospital they take you to. If you had travel protection, that would help. That would come in very, very handy. We hope that no one ever has to go through that, but you never know. Or let's say you had too much to drink at your all-inclusive for the day, you missed the ship. Some travel insurance will cover getting you to your next port. Or if you have a flight delay, your flight gets canceled before your cruise has ever started. You have a flight delay, your flight gets canceled. Well, you have travel protection. So now they can help you get on that next flight. Again, where a travel agent would come in handy is they can work all that out for you and help take some of that stress off. Now, we've talked about that. You know where you're going, you know what excursion you're going to do, you know about your travel protection. Let's talk about who you're going to travel with. Now, don't take this the wrong way, but I would not recommend anybody who just met somebody last week, hey, let's book a cruise for 6 months from now and let's go together. You don't really know them. A lot can happen in 6 months. A lot can happen in a month. So just be cautious on who you're booking with. You've got to live in this little cabin with them for X amount of days. You've got to travel with them. So you want to be sure who you're traveling with, is going to commit to going. Because if they don't go, guess what? You're still paying for the cabin minus port fees and taxes. You don't have to pay for that. But everything else, you got to pay for. The all cruise cabins are set at double sailing. So you don't want to be stuck with that bill. Then you got to make sure you're not going to be footing the bill for them once you get on the ship. Yes, your meals are included. Your entertainment is included. But when you get off at the ports, you're going to have money for a cab if you want to go explore. If you get thirsty, you're going to want to have money to buy a bottle of water, buy that cocktail at whatever resort is right there. You just need to have cash. And then in the event of an emergency, something happens, you need to have an emergency fund. Now you've figured that out. And let's say there's 3 of you traveling. This is just a hypothetical. Okay, only certain cabins can hold 3 people. For example, it's not like a hotel room. On hotel rooms, you can put, there's 1 person or 2 person and what kind of bed you want, and you make it work. It's not like that on a cruise. They are occupancy limited, so only certain cabins can accommodate. Some can only accommodate 2. Some are bunk beds. Some interior cabins are bunk beds, upper and lower. Something else you need to look at and be very aware of if you're booking your own sailing. Some of the cabins, yes, you may see, oh, well, they have a couch online. Well, it doesn't mean just because they have a couch, 3 people can be in there. Some of them, most of them, are actually pulled down from the wall. So if you're booking with someone that there's maybe some mobility issues or things like that, that's something you need to consider. There is also, if you're a family of 6, you're not going to get everybody in one room. You're going to need 2 cabins. So you need to be sure and look at or request with Carnival or the travel agent you book with that you have a conjoining room, a door that separates so that you can go in and out. That is an option. Do you need ADA room? Do you have a scooter or a mobility device or a wheelchair that you need to be able to get into your cabin, or they need to be able to have a wider space so they can get into the shower? There are handicap accessible rooms. Those things are all very important to note when booking. Again, if you're booking for yourself online or going through Carnival or a travel agent, you need to definitely let them know. Now, all of that. Okay, we know what kind of cabin we need, all the things. Now, there's different promotions. Depending when you book, they could have early saver, they could have a free upgrades, there could be rooms that offer onboard credit, there could be some that have reduced deposits. All of those things, all of those offers are going to be in there. Not on every sailing, let me take that back. Not on every sailing, but there will be different discounts you could use. Or if you are going with someone over 55, they qualify for certain discounts. If you're with someone military, sometimes they have different offers. So those, again, all things you need to look at when you are booking your cabin. You may find a room that's $500 a person. We're just throwing a number out there. It's $500 a person, $50 deposits, but no onboard credit. We're booking that. It's the cheapest route. But then there might be another offer in there that, okay, it's $525 a person, but we get free upgrades, which can happen. You get to pick your own stateroom. You get $100 onboard credit per cabin, or a $200 onboard credit per cabin. So that might be worth it versus at $15 a person extra might be worth it to get that onboard credit or to be able to choose the stateroom you want. Those are, again, things that need to be considered. Now you've picked your promotion, you've picked, everything's done. Now, travel documents. Yes, this is such a controversial thing. Yes, you can travel on a cruise that starts, a closed loop cruise that starts and ends from the same port. You can travel with a birth certificate and a form of identification. That is an option. Do I recommend it? Absolutely not. At the very, very minimum, I recommend a passport card. That's from personal experience, from booking other clients where things have happened. Highly recommend it. The number one thing I recommend actually is a passport book. If something were to happen and something happened back home and, oh gosh, I've got to get home. Like, there's no way around it. There's still 15 days left on this cruise. I have got to get home. Something catastrophic happens. If you have you're not going home from an international port that day if you have a birth certificate. You're going to have to go through the embassy. You're going to have to file for an emergency visa. Like, there's all kinds of things you're going to have to do. If you're traveling, just pay the $130, $165, whatever it is. It's good for 10 years. If you're over 16, pay the money and just get the passport. Just get the passport. It's the easiest thing. And make copies of it. Now, we've addressed that. Something else. You will have gratuities on your cruise. And it varies. $16, $18, $22. It depends on your sailing, on your ship, your room category, all the things. You will have gratuities. I highly recommend prepaying those. It doesn't have to be the day you book. You can prepay them any day up to your sailing. And they're done. You don't have to worry about it. Otherwise, you're going to be one of those that's in that longest services line. Why do I have this $100 and something charge for me, my husband, and our 3 kids? Why? What is this $500 charge? What? I've been tipping at the bars. I've been tipping at the dining room. Well, there's more people than just the people you see. There are workers who are washing the laundry. They are washing the dishes. They are maintaining your cabins. They are vacuuming the floors. They're mopping the floors. They're so many things that go on behind the scenes that someone you're not going to walk by and be like, oh, here's $5. Thank you for all you've done. It's been wonderful. Or leaving to your room steward, which if you have a good room steward, I highly recommend doing that. We do. We usually leave something extra. They work hard. They're away from their families, trying to provide better lives for them. So yes, it's no different than going out to a restaurant, a nice restaurant, sit down, having dinner with your family, and tipping your waitress there. Just think, they do this for the duration of your cruise. Morning, breakfast, lunch, dinner, turn down service, clean your room, all the things. So guys, please don't take those gratuities off. I get if you've had a really bad experience or something has been awful, go to guest services. Move them around to someone who was standout. We have done that. Also, on your debit card, when you set up your account, and we will cover this more in Once You're Booked, that will be next week, but I don't recommend putting your debit card on your Sell and Sign account. I do not recommend doing that. I recommend either A, using cash, or B, a credit card, a major credit card, because those holds can take a long time to come off. And always be sure you have cash for ports or a major credit card. Again, we personally will only use cash unless it is through Resort for a Day or Viator. Things like that, major resorts, we will use a major credit card. But apart from that, we use cash. And again, we will cover this more once you're booked. Now, all of that is set. Things you need to consider and let your travel agent, planner, Carnival, whoever you book with know. And putting it, or if you're doing it yourself, there will be a place that has additional comments. If you have an allergy, if you're allergic to shellfish, if you're allergic to eggs, if you're allergic to nuts, if you have a gluten intolerance, if you're vegan, if you're a diabetic and you need a sharps container in your room, or if you need to get a scooter, if you carry a CPAP, if you're going to need the distilled water, anything like that, any kind of health problems you might have, epilepsy, cardiac problems, anything, guys, just be sure and let them know so that they are aware. Now, with all that being said, I hope you weren't overwhelmed. And again, if you are, book with the travel agent. Call the cruise line directly. That's what we're for, guys, and it doesn't cost you anything extra to book with them. So next week we will address the Once You're Booked. I hope this was informative. I hope I was able to help someone. And if you need anything at all, feel free to reach out. Leave something in the comments. Have you had a good experience booking by yourself? What do you prefer for my experienced cruisers? Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.